All right, guys, welcome to a very special edition of the Left Side View. It's Rahul, your sports podcast expert, and we have Amitabh here
Hi
with us.
guys, New Year wishes to one and all. Yeah, so we've actually waited for more than a month now. We have resisted the temptation to talk about our favorite club, but today is the day where we start talking about the club in a little more detail. And of course, we start off with Chelsea. Our match against Liverpool is tonight, and the biggest story of this week, actually, in the whole of footballing world, is the Romelu Lukaku's explosive interview to Sky Italia, where he has expressed his displeasure at the way he has been handled at Chelsea. Now, the question that arises first and foremost is whether, after his outburst, Tuchel will start him today. What do you have to say about that, Rahul?
Well, yes, it's not something that's just one journalist is saying. It's a lot of journalists, a lot of Chelsea journalists, who have broken numerous stories around the club, are saying that Tuchel is considering either benching Lukaku or not even putting him in the squad at all. So, yeah, well, obviously, if it was not a game against Liverpool, maybe you would say that yes, let's do it. But the fact that it is against Liverpool and we need all hands on deck, we need to win this game. Uh, that's the only thing that's stopping me from saying that we should not, Tuchel should not select Lukaku because like, the problem is that obviously I don't want him to play and then not do well. I obviously want him to play and do well, but then there are two sides to that coin. One, Tuchel plays him and then he has a great game. Then his leverage will increase, and then all of a sudden, if he starts but he doesn't play well, then obviously that's not a good situation for us because if he's playing, we want him to play well. But yes, if he plays and has a poor game, then it will be Tuchel who will be, saying that this is the reason why. Uh, if I put you out of the team, it was because of these reasons. So it's like a catch-22 situation.
I think that such incidents have not really been, frequently happened in at our club, and I understand your concern that the match is against Liverpool, but that is where I think we have more of an opportunity to make a statement that even against a match, even against Liverpool, we are not going to let the player dictate terms. And then again, the question is the forward line, the other options, Werner and Havertz, how fit are they and how match fit are they rather? So if there are no other options, then definitely we have to sweep everything under the carpet for today and let Lukaku start. But if he has options, I would prefer that Lukaku does not play today's match.
That's the thing, if we had options available, then I would still understand. But right now, I mean, obviously Werner is back in training, but he's the one like this time who has been affected the most, as per what I've read. And Havertz was actually on the bench against Brighton, but because of the two substitutions that Tuchel had to make because of injuries, he didn't really come off. Otherwise, obviously, the fact that we needed to score a goal and our other striker Kai Havertz was on the bench, it was just normal, to bring him on. So there was a reason to not bring him on. So that's what I've read. That if Tuchel doesn't start with Lukaku, it's actually Havertz who's in line to start. Because I don't think that even though Pulisic does have a good record against Liverpool, good record of sorts against Liverpool. Uh, but yes, the way he has been playing sometimes as a false nine, that hasn't really worked, and similarly sometimes as a wing back that hasn't really worked. So I don't think that this is the game wherein you start with Pulisic in a position that he doesn't really like playing in. So it's either Lukaku or it's another striker in the form of Havertz. I don't see Werner starting or Pulisic starting as a
Mhm.
striker at
Okay,
least.
okay. So, given all the grief that we have suffered over the past month, this is just so unfortunate that Lukaku has just piled on our misery. Moving ahead, with the January transfer window wide open now, We would also like to discuss some potential signings that we could have had, or we should go for rather, especially with long-term injuries to our left back and right back, Chilwell and Reece James. And Tuchel not really in favor of Alonso of late. And again, as we discussed in the last podcast, not many players in the squad are the signings of Tuchel right now. So, what all targets, potential targets, do you see that our club should go for in this month?
Well, also, so first of all, we have to, recognize what are the problem areas. So one, like you said, uh, left back is one of the biggest or one of the easily recognized signings that we need to make because of the long-term injury to Ben Chilwell, who's out for the rest of the season and could actually miss the beginning of the next season as well. The other thing being Reece James. Obviously, as per the rumors that have come out, that he could be out for 3 months. I don't think that uh, we can play with Pulisic or Aspilicueta as a wing back for 3 months at least. They are good as backups when the starting player is available, but when a player of a caliber of Reece James and Ben Chilwell, they're both out, then it just becomes so difficult. I mean, even for the game tonight, I'm just dreading to think that we'll have Aspilicueta on the right wing and Alonso on the other wing. I mean, Alonso, so Salah, Mane would be just licking their lips, I think, as long as they are not the ones who have been affected by COVID. Again, even Klopp has now tested positive, so he's out for this game, not going to be in the dugout. But we need wing backs. I mean, so for left backs, let's talk about one player that everyone is talking about. Luca Digne. Everton want to sell him. Chelsea need a left back. It's a signing that's made in heaven in a way because uh, if we don't really need someone, let's say like Ian Matson, our player on loan at Coventry City, or if we talk about someone like Emerson, who is on loan at Olympic Lyon. Now, the reason why those players are so difficult to get right now is because we need someone who can actually overtake Alonso in the pecking order. There is no point in signing someone like Ian Martin who will come to Chelsea but won't get to play. There's no point. We need someone who can actually give competition to Alonso. So for that, it has to be someone good enough. Ian Martin again, not good, not proven in the Premier League. He's just 21 right now. So we need we need to spend money. It's as simple as that. Uh, the players in the academy or out on loan are not good enough right now uh, to overtake Alonso, and we need someone like that. So that's the reason why Luca Digne's name has been touted as a possible replacement for Ben Chilwell. But that's the thing. Everton want a permanent sale. Chelsea, being frugal, they are, or rather shrewd that they are when it comes to money. And again, I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. That's helped us so much in the long term. But yes, here they do need to spend money, and I think the price that has been quoted is 25 million pounds by Everton because he can come in this season, can actually be above Alonso in the pecking order. A Premier League proven player, does have a few injury concerns of himself, like does tend to get injured a bit. Uh, Other than that, Everton have also signed Vitaly Mikolenko from Dynamo Kiev, so they've already replaced Luca Digne. Other than that, we do have a couple of options. Let's say when it comes to right wing back for Reece James, uh, there's this player, Dujon Sterling, another Chelsea academy player. I'm not sure if you remember, but in the preseason game against Arsenal, he actually played as a right-sided centre back in the second half at the Emirates and did a great job. So again, someone that even though hasn't really played a competitive game this season, but at least someone that Tuchel has had a chance to look at. So Tuchel knows what Dujon Sterling is like, just 22 years old, playing for Blackpool in the Championship. If we don't sign another right wing back, then it will be this guy uh, who will be recalled. Other than that, I think there's another academy wing back that we have uh, out on loan, but this guy is like even further, playing further in the league. So he's playing in the League Two, so even a league below the Championship. He's playing for Wimbledon FC. Henry Lawrence. Again, I don't think that you go from playing in the League Two to defending European champion. So that's something that again really difficult. Um, what else? Because Aspilicueta's position in a way is under jeopardy, and the only problem right now that I think of is a lot of these players, they have an eye on the World Cup this year. If there was no World Cup, or if these players, let's say, were not playing for their uh, countries, then maybe they would be okay with playing a bit part role. But the fact that even Alonso was given a chance to represent his country again after a certain period of exile, same with Aspilicueta. So these players now want to play regularly for their clubs so that they can get selected for their countries and play in the World Cup. So that's another reason. I think we should all be blaming Luis Enrique for this. But yeah.
Yes, so for the left back position, I think the Lucas Digne deal is pretty straightforward. The fact remains is how soon, how early can we get the deal completed so that fewer matches are affected. But again, Everton wants to sell and they know that we have to buy, so they might play hardball. As you just said, they're quoting 25 billion pounds right now, which is a little over the top. Um, there's also Rafinha that we have been linked to, but then now Bayern Munich has come in for him, and let's see if he chooses a bigger Premier League club, because now initially he was a little unsettled in England, but now that he has settled in, maybe he would like to play for one of the top teams in England itself. But then the Bayern Munich lure will always be evident. So that is one. For right back, Newcastle have already placed a bet for Trippier, but and he was also linked to us. So again, one of those things that will unravel in the days to come. Moving on, I think we also need some sort of a backup for our midfield. Uh, Kante, Jorginho, and Kovacic, because see, Kovacic has just been overworked. I mean, Tuchel has been so outspoken about the fact that Jorginho has been playing through a lot of pain, back pain, and he needs some sort of a rest. And Kante again has had his injuries in the recent past. Kovacic, first it was an injury, now then it was COVID, and these three players. But again, the question arises: who would want to come to the club and automatically be number 4, right? So the thing is, as soon as all three are fit, well rested, they will be the first ones that Tuchel picks. The Monaco player, Tuchonami,
So many.
yeah. So he has been linked, and he has been linked. I mean, what the reports are saying is his deal is quite close actually, but can never trust these reports. And yeah, so what do you have to say about the midfield?
So the reason why we are linked so strongly with Chouameni is because of the fact that Chouameni and Jules Koundé, they share the same agent. So because of the fact that we are so strongly linked with Jules Koundé, and the fact that his agent and Chouameni's agent are the same, that's another reason why people link Chelsea so strongly, with Chouameni as well, along with Koundé. And again, it's not just Chelsea. It's like there are 2-3 midfielders uh, so strongly linked with all the clubs that need a defensive midfielder. Declan Rice, Chouameni, and I think then the next tier would be of someone like Boubakary Kamara. So these are the ones that are available right now, because West Ham, I think, £100 million deal. That's what they would look at to let go someone like Declan Rice. He's got a deal till 2024 with an option to extend till 2025. So technically, he's still got 3.5 years left on his deal. Why would West Ham let him go? I mean, obviously they can't.
At least they now say it's over 100 million pounds now. They said that if you wanted him for 100, you should have taken him last summer. He'll cost
Exactly.
you more now.
And
Yeah.
that's the thing in a way. Right now, like if you need him right now, that is the valuation that someone will have to match in a way. Maybe if he stays for another year or two, then because of the fact that his contract will be expiring, maybe then West Ham will start to panic a little. But right now, since he has 3.5 years left on his contract, I don't see West Ham budging on the valuation. But yes, Boubacar Kamara, like I talked about, his contract expires in the summer, so could be available even in January for 10 million pounds, 15 million pounds. The same goes for someone like Dennis Zakaria of Borussia Mönchengladbach. The Swiss midfielder was injured a lot during last season, but at least the season has started to play regularly after coming back from injury and has uh, put in some consistent performances. So Mönchengladbach have already said that he will leave. He will not renew his contract along with their defender Matthias Ginter. But that's another topic. But yes,
Even
Zakaria is another option.
Frank Kessie's contract is up in the summer.
Yes, but then the problem with Frank Cassier is that he probably wants a lot of money. So I'm not really sure that Chelsea would look to match those wages. I think Tottenham are interested in him as well. Yes, like you said, there are players available. So we can't say that, like, we cannot say that there are no options available. There are options available. It's whether the board, whether Marina Gravskaya, they want to get those targets for Tuchel.
Yeah.
So like you said,
we missed out on Jules Koundé while we were discussing the defense. He was so strongly linked to us last summer, and especially with his latest shenanigan, throwing the ball at Jordi Alba, reading himself where it started. I don't know what that means, but when the transfer window is near, you sort of overread or overanalyze all these incidents, and especially with the scenario that we have with our defense. Thiago Silva being at the age that he is, Rudiger is already, I think, I read somewhere he wants 14 million pounds as a sign-on bonus from Real Madrid. Because
I'm sorry, who?
Rudiger.
Rudiger, okay.
Yeah, he wants 14 million pounds as a sign-on bonus because they'll not be spending anything on his transfer. The Christensen deal, first we came to know that there's a stalemate there. Then we came to hear that they're very close to signing. But now again, talks seem to have broken down as far as what we have been reading in the reports. And Aspilicueta is on his way out. I think it is pretty evident. And they have also sort of, they have started planning some sort of a farewell for him, Abramovich and the team. So Jules Koundé, again, one of the players that we are linked with. Let's see what happens. Your views, Rahul?
Well, yes, the problem is that initially, at least this is what I thought, that, out of these 4 players that are out of contract in summer, Thiago Silva, Aspilicueta, Andreas Christensen, and Antonio Rudiger, one player that will leave would be Antonio Rudiger, and the rest will stay. But now it's the other way around. It's like one player will stay and 3 will leave. So obviously, if we are only thinking of replacing one player, then we can sign Jules Koundé and he can be that replacement for Antonio Rudiger. But if Aspilicueta also leaves, if Christensen also leaves, then that just changes the game in a way for Chelsea. And again, I'm not really sure why this has happened. Usually because we are so good with these transfers and player signings and contract extensions that all of a sudden all these 4 extensions have come at the same time.
We still have time, first of all, 1 month now, and then we can buy players. See, our club has a very strict policy over signing players over 30 or even renewing contracts. They don't give you a contract more than 1 year. And that is the reason why someone like Willian or David Luiz, they moved on. Even Peter Cech, and all of them went to Arsenal, coincidentally. So, I mean, and that policy has served us well because, when you reach that age, you don't know when you're going to fall off the cliff. It's like in a matter of maybe a couple of months, your performance drops so drastically, it starts affecting the entire team. So that is what, and the players, they know that there are other leagues where they can do well at that age. So, and they'll get the same amount, if not just a little less money. So that is why they prefer to go to those pastures. Moving on, our forward line, a much maligned forward line. Do you think that we should sign a striker now?
Do we need someone in attack? The answer is yes. But then again, the question is, who do we sign? We've just spent 100 million pounds on someone like Romelu Lukaku, and I don't mind that we sign another striker, someone like Haaland or Vlahovic, because not only they are in a way better, but they are younger as well. We also have someone like Armando Broja out on loan at Southampton. But the problem is that if we sign all of these strikers, Lukaku would want to leave, for instance, and that's where the question arises for me. Even if we want to sell Lukaku, will anyone buy Lukaku now? Like, who's going to spend another 100 million pounds on him? And that's a very key point, because I don't see Chelsea taking a hit on the valuation. If yes, we can somehow sell Lukaku for the same amount of money, I would happily sign someone like Vlahovic, someone like Haaland, and bring back someone like Armando Broja. But the fact that that's something that is next to impossible. That's the reason why I don't see us spending a lot of money, which is why I would say that keep Lukaku and bring on someone that we already have, someone like Armando Broja.
That is what irritates me the most about the Lukaku incident. That when someone like this is done by the club, and our club has been much tarnished about treating the players like commodities. Um, so everybody is up in arms, and they talk about the players and their welfare, and they are human beings. They should be treated in a certain way. But the fact is that Lukaku has just dropped his market value to close to zero now. Even if we want to try and ship him off, nobody is going to pay that money. The fact that Inter let him go was because they were cash strapped, right? And no other team, even if they have the money right now, first of all, there are better options. And secondly, given the situation, they are not going to spend. We see, as a club, we are known to take losses on our players, on our coaches, and stuff like that for the betterment of the club. But now, even if you think, will anybody actually pay for even 70-75 million for Lukaku? I have my doubts. And because nobody needs a striker that bad, and everybody, the story is out in the open. So they will try to leverage the situation, and even if they want him, they will want him on cheap.
I mean, that's the thing, you can spend much less than 100 million pounds, and you can get someone much younger, like Dusan Vlahovic, just 21 years old, higher ceiling, available for cheap because his contract expiring in 2023, just a year and a half remaining on his contract. So he's available for 70 million euros. Why would you spend 100 million on a almost 29-year-old Lukaku?
Yeah. I think because the players that are already out on loan, I think Tuchel has already been asked this, and he has said that they don't have a plan right now. And even the clubs that they have been loaned out to, I don't think they'll agree to, returning the players back to the parent club. I know for a fact that one of our players at Lyon, I guess.
Emerson Palmieri.
Yeah. So they have already denied. They have already said that they will not let Palmieri come back. So that leaves us with not a lot of options. Haaland will surely go to Madrid or Manchester City or Barcelona, maybe Bayern Munich. But I don't think he is even considering us until unless we move that magic wand and come up with a miracle that we have done in the past. And especially with 100 million pounds locked up in Lukaku, and the financial fair play and the financial prudence with which the club is run, I think we are sort of stuck as far as the strikers department is concerned. The fact is they are misfiring, and on top of it, with this interview, it has just given us a lot of headaches, unnecessary headaches, to say the least.
It's brought a lot of noise we don't need.
Yes, to quote our coaches. Anything else you'd like to add?
I think yes, we can talk a little bit, just a second more about the defense. So what I've read is that I think Rudiger is probably going to go to Real Madrid. Other than that, what I've read, the latest about our captain is that Azpilicueta hasn't really agreed anything with Barcelona. I think the latest that I read is that he has given Chelsea a deadline that he whatever they want to do, whether they want to give him an extension or not, do it by 31st of January. After that, he will probably agree terms or whatever with whoever clubs he wants to go to. I think Thiago Silva is actually the most likeliest to stay. He wants to stay at a higher level, at least till the World Cup. So I think he's probably going to be here and play in the Qatar World Cup this year, later this year. The other player that I'm going to talk about is Andreas Christensen. With Christensen, it's a little difficult in a way. I mean, what I feel is that if he goes, he can leave because he is someone who has been good for us at least till Tuchel has joined. But at the same time, he is someone who is replaceable. That's what I feel at least. That obviously, because when you lose someone like Rudiger or Spilicueta, they are not just good players, but they're also voices in the dressing room. Which is the reason why, out of all these players, one player that we can let go and replace is Andreas Christensen. But that's a problem, you don't know how many of these are going to go and
But
how
the
many of
fact
these are going
is,
to stay because
the fact is, we already know that Rudiger and Azpilicueta are on their way out. So if we add Christensen to that list, then we certainly have three players. Okay, Chalobah has come up the ranks, but then we still have to find two more defensive players.
but that's the thing that like it's not up to us, right? Like
Yeah, of course.
yeah. So I mean, obviously, if it was up to us, then we would probably keep all four of them.
Yes.
We wouldn't have all this chaos surrounding the club, or at least surrounding the defense. But yes,
Yeah.
if he has made up his mind that he wants to leave, then we will have to, do something to replace him.
Yes. Okay. Anything else?
No, I think we've covered every position. We've talked,
Yeah.
taken out all our pent up frustration.
Okay. Is the coach's position safe for at least
It
the
should
summer?
be. It should be. From what I've read, is that even if he decides to, let's say, take out Lukaku, the board are going to back him. So I think that's something really nice to see. Really nice to hear. And I would be really surprised if the board wouldn't back him if he were to consider something like this, taking Lukaku out of the side completely.
Okay. Okay. So that brings us to the end of this Chelsea special podcast, guys. Thank you so much for your time. We'll meet you the next time. Bye-bye.